What if I told you that everything you believe about reality, your sense of time, your identity, even the idea of who you are, is an illusion? Pause for a second. Look around. What if this isn't the world as it truly is, but a carefully crafted dream you've been living in, unknowingly? Yes, the concept of the Matrix is not new. But still, today, we're not here to entertain. We're here to wake you up. Somewhere deep inside, you've felt it, haven't you? That nagging sense that something about life doesn't quite add up. That the routines, the endless chasing of goals, the fleeting moments of happiness, they aren't enough. It's like being trapped in a glass cage, so transparent you barely notice it's there. But there's a crack in the glass now, and through it, a light is shining. Eckhart Tolle, a spiritual teacher whose words have touched millions, speaks of something most people miss entirely: a way to step out of this cage, not tomorrow, not someday, now. His teachings aren't about belief systems or grand theories. They're about breaking free. They reveal truths so simple, so profound, that they've been hiding in plain sight all along. Consider this. Time, as we know it, is nothing but a mental construct. Past and future, they're illusions, projections of the mind. What truly exists is this very moment, the now. Think about how much of your life you've spent dwelling on what's already gone, or worrying about what hasn't happened yet. What if you could reclaim all that lost time by anchoring yourself fully in the present? Wouldn't that change everything? But here's the paradox. The mind resists the present. It thrives on distractions, on narratives about who you are and what you must achieve. Tolle calls this the ego, a voice in your head that tells you you're not enough, that you need more, be it success, love, or validation. But the ego is a lie, and the moment you see it for what it is, it begins to lose its grip. This isn't just philosophy, it's survival. Every day, the world feeds us noise, constant notifications, endless comparisons, a sense that we're always falling behind. And yet, there's a silence beneath all of it. Have you ever felt it? That deep, still presence when you watch a sunset or lose yourself in the laughter of someone you love? That's who you really are. Not the chatter, not the roles you play, just that stillness. Here's something most people never realize. Suffering is optional. Pain is inevitable, yes, but suffering? That's the mind clinging, resisting, refusing to let go. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack for years, not realizing you could set it down at any moment. That's how most people live. But when you release attachment, when you stop resisting what is, you discover a freedom that feels almost impossible to describe. It's as if you've come home to yourself for the first time. The world doesn't want you to know this. A distracted mind is easy to control. But once you taste this truth, even for a moment, the old ways of living begin to crumble. You stop running. You stop searching. Instead, you simply are. And in that being, you find everything you were looking for, all along. By the end of this journey, you'll have 8 powerful insights, each one a stepping stone on the path to awakening. And the final secret will be the missing piece, the thread that ties everything together, revealing the path to a truth that so many may never come to know. But beware, once you see reality for what it truly is, there's no going back. Are you ready? Because the crack in the glass is widening. All you have to do is step through. Who are you, really? No, not your name, not your job, your relationships, or the roles you've been assigned in life. Who are you when all of that is stripped away? Beneath the surface, beyond the labels, who is looking back at you in the mirror? It's not an easy question, is it? But the moment you start asking, something shifts. A crack appears in the illusion, and the world you thought you knew begins to look different. For most of us, our identity feels like a solid, unshakable truth. We are who we think we are, right? But what if that's the problem? What if this identity you cling to so tightly isn't real at all? Think about it. How much of who you are depends on the stories you've told yourself? I'm not good enough. I need to prove myself. I'll be happy when... These stories weave together to form what Eckhart Tolle calls the ego. But here's the thing. This ego isn't you. It's a mask, a collection of thoughts, comparisons, fears, and expectations. And the more you live through it, the more disconnected you become from your true self. It's the ego that keeps you trapped in cycles of struggle, always searching, always wanting, yet never finding what you're looking for. Why? Because the ego thrives on dissatisfaction. It whispers that you're incomplete, that you need more success, more recognition, more of whatever it is you believe will fill the void. But have you noticed? The void never fills. The chase never ends. Now pause for a moment. Think about the voice in your head, the one that narrates your every move, comments on every action, and criticizes your every mistake. Who is it that hears this voice? Who is aware of these thoughts? This single question, this quiet moment of self-inquiry, has the power to unravel the illusion. You are not the voice. You are the awareness behind it. Let that sink in. Here's a simple practice to start peeling back the layers. Today, whenever a thought arises, especially a judgment or doubt, stop and ask yourself, who is observing this thought? At first, the question may feel strange, even frustrating. But keep asking. With time, you'll notice something profound. The thoughts lose their weight. The judgments lose their sting. It's as if the mask of the ego begins to slip, revealing glimpses of the truth underneath. But if you're not your ego, then who are you? What lies beyond this mental construct you've called me? Let's dive deeper. That voice in your head, the one that never stops talking, analyzing, and worrying. It feels so real, doesn't it? But what if it isn't? What if the voice is just an echo? A stream of random thoughts passing through your mind, like clouds drifting across the sky. And just as clouds don't define the sky, your thoughts don't define you. Let me ask you, how often do you confuse the two? How often do you mistake the noise for the silence beneath it? This confusion is the root of so much suffering. Thoughts come and go, but we cling to them, believing they hold the answers or the truth. We let them spiral, feeding them with our attention until they consume us. But Eckhart Tolle reminds us, the primary cause of unhappiness is not the situation itself. It's your thoughts about it. It's not the external event, but the internal narrative that creates the pain. Now think back to a moment of stress in your life. Maybe it was an argument, a missed opportunity, or a fear that kept you up at night. Do you remember how your thoughts spiraled out of control? The what-ifs, the should-haves, the endless loop of doubt and regret? What if, instead of being swept away by the current, you could simply watch it flow? What if you could observe the thoughts without attaching to them, like watching clouds float by? You don't have to believe every thought that enters your mind. In fact, most of them aren't even true. They're patterns, reactions, habits formed over years of conditioning. But you are not your thoughts. You are the space in which they arise. You are the stillness watching the storm. Here's something practical to try. The next time a thought stresses you out, pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this thought helping me, or is it just noise? That single question can create a gap, a moment of clarity where you step back from the thought and see it for what it is. Temporary, insignificant, not you. But there's more to uncover. If your thoughts don't define you, then why do some of them carry such intense emotions? Why do certain feelings seem to overwhelm you, taking control as if they have a life of their own? There's something deeper, hidden in the shadows, something that holds the key to your freedom, and we're about to shine a light on it. Are you ready to go further? Have you ever been swept away by emotions so powerful, so consuming, that it felt like they weren't even yours? Like a tidal wave crashing over you, leaving you disoriented, wondering, where did that come from? These emotional storms have a source, a silent force operating beneath the surface of your life. Eckhart Tolle calls it the pain body. And here's the truth. It's not just your emotions. It's the weight you carry from unresolved wounds, the grief you never fully felt, the anger you've buried under politeness. And it doesn't just sit quietly in the background. It waits. It feeds. It surfaces when you least expect it, controlling your reactions, distorting your perspective, and feeding on the very resistance you give it. Think back to an argument that spiraled out of control, the kind that left you wondering, why did it get so intense? It wasn't even about that. That's the pain body at work. It takes a small spark, a misunderstood word, a memory triggered by an offhand comment, and turns it into a wildfire. The truth is, it was never about the present moment. It was about old pain, reactivated and replayed, as though the past never left. But here's something crucial. The pain body may feel like you, but it's not. It's a shadow, a reflection of past experiences, not the essence of who you are. And just like a shadow, it depends on light, on your attention, to exist. The more you resist it, the stronger it becomes. Resistance is its fuel. Awareness, however, is its undoing. When negativity arises, take a moment. Pause. Ask yourself, is this reaction tied to what's happening right now, or is it my pain body speaking? That pause is transformative. It disrupts the cycle. Suddenly, you're no longer lost in the emotion. You're observing it. And the moment you observe it, the pain body begins to lose its grip. What was once all-consuming now becomes manageable, smaller, even temporary. But what do you do when the pain body surfaces? How do you respond to the emotional storms it creates? The answer isn't to fight it. Fighting only strengthens it. The answer lies in an unexpected place: surrender. Think about all the moments in life that make you clench your fists. Traffic that refuses to move, rejection that stings like a blade, failure that feels like the end of the road. What's the instinct? To resist, to push back, to fight against the flow. But here's the thing. Resistance is what creates suffering. Eckhart Tolle says it simply. Surrender is the simple but profound wisdom of yielding to, rather than opposing the flow of life. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean passivity. It's the opposite. It's about stepping into the present moment fully, without resistance. It's about saying, this is what is, and I will meet it with clarity. not with struggle. Imagine being stuck in traffic, your hands gripping the wheel, your mind spiraling into frustration. What happens if you let go? If, for a moment, you accept the situation as it is? You can't change it, but you can change how you meet it. Feel the stress fade. Feel the weight lift. It sounds simple, doesn't it? But here's the challenge. Surrender is hard because we've been conditioned to believe in resistance. We think that control is the answer, that fighting is the way forward. And yet, the more we resist, the more we suffer. So here's a question for you. What happens if you stop? If you allow this moment, this exact moment, to simply be? There's freedom in surrender, a lightness, a space where the pain body can't thrive, where resistance dissolves, and where you find yourself anchored in something deeper. But why is surrender so difficult? Why does it feel so unnatural, so counterintuitive? The answer lies in how we perceive time. We resist because we're either trapped in the past, replaying old wounds, or projecting into the future, fearing what's to come. True surrender requires presence, a willingness to step fully into the now and let go of everything else. And that's where the real transformation begins. Let's explore what time really is and how it shapes the way you live. Have you noticed how much of your life is spent thinking about moments that are no longer here or worrying about ones that haven't even arrived? It's subtle, isn't it? Almost invisible. Yet, it pulls the strings of your emotions, shaping how you feel, how you act, how you live. Stress, anxiety, regret, they all share the same source, time. Not time as we measure it with clocks and calendars, but time as a mental construct. Think about it. The past is a memory, a story your mind tells itself. The future? A projection, imagined but not real. And yet, these illusions hold so much power. The truth is this: life doesn't happen in the past or the future. It happens here, now. Eckhart Tolle reminds us of something so simple yet so transformative. The present moment is all you ever have. Listen once more. The only thing that's real, the only thing that's ever real, is this moment. But if that's true, why do we cling to what's already gone or chase what hasn't come? Because the mind loves time. It thrives on it, spinning endless stories, weaving layers of identity and drama. And in doing so, it distracts you from the present, the only place where life actually unfolds. Here's a question. Have you ever truly felt the present moment? Not thought about it, but felt it. The air against your skin, the rhythm of your breath, the subtle sounds around you. For most of us, these moments are fleeting, snatched away by a racing mind. But when you're fully present, something extraordinary happens. Time disappears. And with it, so does the stress, the worry, the weight of the past and future. Try it now. Close your eyes if you can, and take a deep breath. Feel it move through your body. Notice the sensations, the stillness, the aliveness of this moment. Do you feel it? That's the present. That's where life is waiting for you. The more you connect with the now, the more you realize its power. Because when you're anchored in the present, you're not at the mercy of time anymore. You're free. Free to live, to feel, to experience life as it is, not as your mind imagines it to be. But there's more to this than just escaping the trap of time. When you step into the now, you unlock something deeper, something hidden. Let's go a step further and uncover the next secret, the hidden power of presence. What happens when you stop chasing, Stop worrying. Stop replaying old memories. You start to notice things you never saw before. The richness of life. The way sunlight filters through a window. The sound of wind rustling through leaves. The way your breath feels as it enters and leaves your body. These aren't just mundane details. They're portals to presence. And presence? Presence is freedom. It's clarity. It's the space where joy, love, and peace naturally arise. Tolle puts it perfectly. You can only be free now. There is no other time, no other place. Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed. The thoughts racing in your head, the emotions crashing like waves. What would have happened if you paused? Just for a moment. If you asked yourself, what is actually happening right now? Not what you're thinking or fearing or regretting, but this moment, stripped of all the noise. In the now, there's no fear, no stress, just life, raw and vibrant. Here's something simple you can try today. Set a timer for 1 minute, just one. And in that minute, focus entirely on your breath. Feel it. Notice the way it fills your lungs, the way it leaves your body. Let yourself sink into that sensation. The more you do this, the more you'll realize how powerful presence can be. But here's the thing. Presence is more than just a practice. It's a shift, a revolution. And at the core of it lies something even deeper, something quieter. Stillness. What is stillness? What does it mean to embrace it, to live in it? That's the secret we'll uncover next. Have you ever noticed how silence can feel louder than noise? Not the awkward, uncomfortable kind of silence, but the deep, resonant stillness that seems to stretch infinitely in every direction. It's in that silence, in that stillness, that the most profound truths are born. But when was the last time you truly heard it? In a world that demands more noise, more speed, more productivity, stillness has become a forgotten language. We've lost touch with it, as if the very idea of pausing threatens to unravel the fabric of who we are. Yet what if stillness isn't the absence of life, but its very essence? Think about it. We live surrounded by noise, both outside and within. The relentless hum of responsibilities, the clamor of social expectations, the constant mental chatter that never lets up. Every notification, every headline, every fleeting thought becomes another layer of static, drowning out the quiet voice of clarity. But stillness doesn't disappear. It waits. And when you finally pause, really pause, it begins to reveal itself. At first, it feels foreign, as though you're stepping into an empty room you've avoided for years. But then something shifts. You realize the room isn't empty at all. It's vast, alive, brimming with possibilities you couldn't see before. Eckhart Tolle calls stillness the birthplace of creativity and solutions. And he's right. It's not just the absence of noise, it's the presence of space. Space for thoughts to settle, for emotions to breathe, for your true self to emerge from beneath the layers of roles and expectations. Have you ever noticed how answers come to you not when you're frantically searching, but when you let go? A moment of silence in the middle of a chaotic day. A quiet drive with no music, no distractions. In those moments, something unlocks. Creativity flows. Problems untangle themselves. Peace becomes tangible. Try this. Just for 2 minutes today, sit in silence. Turn everything off. The devices, the background noise, even your thoughts, as best you can. At first, it might feel uncomfortable, like standing on the edge of a vast, unfamiliar ocean. But stay with it. breathe. Let the waves of silence wash over you, and notice what happens. It's not just peace you'll find, it's connection. Because in stillness, the illusion of separation begins to dissolve. You start to see that the boundaries between you and the world, between self and other, are thinner than you thought. The stillness within you is the same stillness that underpins the entire universe. And here we come to a key secret. Because if stillness holds the key to creativity and peace, what happens when we go deeper? What if everything we think separates us is just an illusion waiting to be unraveled? Let's step into that mystery next. What if everything you believed about yourself, your identity, your place in the world, was just a story? A story told by a mind that sees boundaries where none truly exist. What if the idea of you and me was the greatest illusion of all? From the moment we open our eyes to the world, we're taught to see it as separate. You are here, they are there. This is yours, that is theirs. And so the boundaries form, lines we defend, walls we build, a fragile fortress of self that isolates us from everything outside. But take a moment to question this. Is it true? Is the air you breathe separate from the tree that gives it to you? Is the warmth of the sun outside you, or is it within you, animating your very being? We walk through life believing we're alone, but are we? Eckhart Tolle reminds us, you are not separate from the whole. You are one with the sun, the earth, the air. These aren't just poetic words. They're a reflection of the deepest truth. Every thought of I and mine is like a veil blinding us to the interconnectedness of all things. Imagine a single drop of water falling toward the ocean. For a fleeting moment, it believes it's alone, isolated in its descent. But the moment it touches the surface, the illusion shatters. It was never separate. It was always the ocean, even when it didn't know it. Close your eyes. Feel the life pulsing within you, the steady rhythm of your breath, the quiet hum of your existence. That same energy flows through every being, every tree, every distant star. You are not apart from the world. You are the world, expressed in a unique and fleeting form. Think about it. If there is no real separation, then what does that mean for fear? For loneliness? For the endless striving to prove your worth in a world that seems so fragmented? What if all of it, every bit of it, was rooted in a misunderstanding? Try this today. Observe the world around you, not as something other, but as an extension of yourself. Look at the rustling leaves. Feel the warmth of the sunlight. Hear the laughter of strangers. They are not outside of you. They are you, reflected back. And when you truly see this, something profound begins to shift. Acts of kindness are no longer about charity. They become acts of self-love. Every moment of stillness becomes a reunion with the whole. Every breath, every heartbeat, every step is a reminder that you are not a fragment. You are the entirety, expressed in motion. So, what does this mean for how we live? It means that the walls we've built, between nations, between people, even within ourselves, are paper thin. It means that every act of harm is self-inflicted, and every act of love is a healing of the whole. As we've journeyed together through these 8 secrets, through identity, presence, surrender, and stillness, we've arrived at the final truth. The truth that we are, and always have been, whole. The illusion of separation was the final barrier between you and the peace you've been searching for. But this isn't the end of the journey. It's the beginning. These truths aren't just ideas to think about. They are realities to live. Carry them with you into every moment, every interaction, every breath. And as you do, remember, you are not a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean in a drop.